Good afternoon. Once again, let's acknowledge and thank Superintendent Dr. Swift for her awesome leadership as the 2018 Superintendent of the Year. I'm honored to have been selected by MASA as the 2019 Superintendent of the Year. I'm also very humbled to have been chosen, knowing how many outstanding and deserving superintendents were nominated. I want to thank Chris Wygant and the entire MASA organization for sponsoring this award, but more importantly, I want to thank them for their efforts to support our work, keep us informed on important educational issues, and host these conferences that allow us to learn, share ideas, and even have a little fun. I want to thank Dr. Randy Lipa and the Wayne County RESA superintendents, Ray Tellman and the Middle Cities Executive Board and all the superintendents, Dr. Wilmot from the Michigan Leadership Academy, Bob McCann from the Tri-County Alliance, and Carl Weiss in the Metropolitan Bureau. These individuals and their organizations have provided me with support and guidance as a superintendent. I strongly encourage membership in these groups and other similar professional organizations, as they provide superintendents with a great network to share ideas and collaborate. Although this award recognizes the effort of a single individual, for me, this award really belongs to the entire Dearborn Schools community. My philosophy always has been and always will be one of shared leadership, fostering community partnerships, and working collaboratively with all stakeholders. I truly believe that it takes an entire school community to provide each student with a high-quality education, and our team in Dearborn works tirelessly to accomplish that goal. Leading the effort is our Board of Education. I appreciate the work they do and thank them for their work to develop the outstanding board administrative team we have in place. Board President Petlichkoff, Trustee Dr. Mead, and Trustee Jim Thorpe are here to represent the Board of Education. In addition, former Trustee Pam Adams is also here. I would also want to thank President Cavalluna from the Henry Ford College. I appreciate his awesome support as we partner to support our students in their education, both P-12 and post-secondary. I must thank and recognize my incredible team, Mesa Bazzi, who led the submission of this application, Dr. Jill Chokel, Shannon Peterson, Fatmi Faraj, Tom Wall, David Mustonen, and all the cabinet and extended cabinet members. Director Rose Aldubailey, who does an excellent job, is here to represent the cabinet. I also want to thank Janet Palmer and the great team that we have in the superintendent complex. Thank you to Joanne Harris, my executive assistant, for all of her fantastic work. She always has my back and manages an endless game of scheduling that, along with all of the meetings and social events, includes over 400 school visits a year. I am so fortunate to work with such a caring and dedicated group of professionals, and I want to thank all Dearborn Public Schools staff members for the work they do to support our students. Representing our staff is Chris Sipperly, the former teacher union president, and we have built a positive and collaborative partnership under her leadership. I would also like to thank the Dearborn community, which includes parents and especially our awesome students. Joining us today as a representative of the Superintendent Student Advisory Council is Zoe Regula from Etzelford High School. I have actually known Zoe since she was the third grade student at Duval when I was the principal. She took an active leadership role then, and she has been an active member and leader on the council the past 2 years. I cannot express how grateful I am for the great support from my family, including those here today, my mother-in-law Mary, my father-in-law Joe, my father Mike, my mother Sharon, my stepdad Dan, most important, my children Ashley and Justin, and of course my magnificent wife Joanne. As you can see, both my executive assistant and my wife are named Joanne, which can make things really easy, but sometimes a bit confusing. It actually happened when I called the name, and I only wanted one for the picture, and they both came. So, all of you know and live each day, this job demands a great deal of our time that we give to the job and time that we ask our family to sacrifice. It takes a loving family, and especially an outstanding and supportive spouse, to be successful. Joanne, you are my support, my partner, and my true love. I could not do this without you. This award is very special, has a very special meaning for me because it comes from those that really understand what it is like to be a superintendent. Every day, we must be prepared to address sensitive or controversial issues, and our role as leaders of the district make us an easy target for those who want to second-guess or criticize our decisions. For example, just look at the last 2 weeks with all the school closures, right? Social media blasts. Being a superintendent can sometimes be a very lonely job, as there is no one in the district that can truly understand the issues that weigh on our minds each day. Along with having colleagues to collaborate with, we all need a mentor, a coach, someone to guide us as we navigate our way through this complex job of educational leadership. I am blessed to have been able to call the late, great Brian Whiston my mentor, but even more fortunate to have been able to call him my friend. After I became superintendent in Dearborn during my first day on the job, Brian said to me, "Glenn, don't get too full of yourself when you think things are going well because they can quickly change. And don't worry about it so much when there are negative or controversial issues. You need to maintain an even keel and just deal with it and not worry about it for too long." I want to give you all of you that same advice. Over the past 4 years, those words continue to resonate in my mind and have helped me through many, many situations. This part is going to be hard, and I apologize if I get a little emotional. I know that Beth is here, and I want to thank her and express my appreciation to her and her daughter, Kristen, for attending the board meeting in November when Randy and Chris presented me with news of winning this award. It was an emotional night, and it meant a lot to me to have them there, as it was actually 5 years to the day when Brian received the same award in the same boardroom. I was by his side on that night as the Executive Director of Staff and Student Services, and I like to think that he was by my side on that night in November 2018. Beth, my heart, my thoughts, and my prayers are always with you and your family. Brian had the unique ability to influence people on a variety of topics. He spent a large part of his career doing this as a lobbyist and superintendent, but you probably wouldn't think of Brian as someone who would influence fashion. However, today, that is not true. You see, Beth gave me 2 of Brian's ties, and although I'm not sure if this is the perfect match for my outfit, as I didn't get the official approval from my wife like I usually do, but today it just felt right to wear this tie in his honor. Just kidding, Joanne, I know that you were happy with me wearing the tie. I would not be standing here today, nor would I be a superintendent if it wasn't for Brian Whiston. I'm confident that Superintendent Wandry from Lapeer would agree that Brian was a wonderful leader, mentor, and friend. I know that both of us, along with many others, miss not being able to pick up the phone and call him for a bit of advice and, of course, a laugh or two. It is important for us to laugh, or at least try to keep our sense of humor. We are surrounded each day with situations and events that can just, make us shake our heads and smile. I mean, just look at some of the laughable, or what I like to call quackable, legislation that came out of the lame duck in Lansing. Some Michigan lawmakers have put into place an accountability system that has no statistical reliability and is flawed. The 8F system will do nothing but further show the disparities among racial and/or demographic subgroups. Let's not misunderstand what I'm saying. As educators, we have no problem with being held accountable. But any system of accountability should help drive instruction, be fair to all schools, and the measures used should not change with the election cycle or the lame duck. The 8F accountability system is not good for students, and as Chris Wygant said, we do not need another measurement system. We need a system that provides additional support to our students, and Dr. Swift hit that same point. Don't just take my word for it. Look at the number of professional organizations from across the state who've spoken out against the 8F system, including our own State Board of Education and the Michigan Department of Education. I want to commend the position taken by State Superintendent Sheila Alice in regard to the 8F system. I applaud her for standing up for public education and the best interest of our students. In fact, as many of you know, right now our new Attorney General is being asked to review the system to determine if it violates the current agreement with the U.S. Department of Education. Our voice as leaders and as experts in education is much stronger when we stand together and take an active role in talking with lawmakers about the direction of education in our state. I encourage all of you to be proactive and make contact with the lawmakers who represent your community. In Dearborn, I have worked very hard to foster positive relationships and partnerships with the 5 locally elected state legislators who represent the citizens in our district. U.S. Congresswoman Dingell has also joined this group. I want to send my thoughts and prayers out to her and her family as John Dingell, a longtime congressman, is ill right now. Anyway, we meet every few months to discuss what is going on in education, where we need their support, and to provide them with education-based solutions to problems. I've established a meaningful and working relationship with them to ensure that my district has influence with important decisions that are being made in Lansing. And guess what? They appreciate the dialogue, being informed, and have a real, in-the-trenches perspective of what goes on in our classrooms. I'm proud of the lawmakers representing Dearborn for their efforts to fight against the legislation that was proposed in the lame duck, and I thank them for their support of public education. As we've heard a little bit today, the lame duck also decided that the school aid fund is the go-to ATM for funding other state projects. Like all of you, when our governor was running for office, I heard her say, "Fix the damn roads." However, I would like to remind some of our lawmakers in Lansing that I never heard her follow that up with, "and we'll get the money from the damn school aid fund." I don't think that was her plan, and I don't think that was the plan of the great people in this state. If we are looking for a plan that addresses the funding of education in Michigan, we need to look no further than the comprehensive work that was done by the School Finance Collaborative. This study of school funding that included stakeholders from all areas of Michigan provides an in-depth look in options that create an equitable funding solution for schools across our state. However, I am not naive or so narrow-minded to think that schools are the only topic on the minds of state lawmakers. I do understand that there are many important issues across our state, and those who work in Lansing are working to solve these concerns while at the same time do what is best for the people they represent. Just as it is unfair to paint all public schools with the same brush, it would be unfair of me to categorize all politicians as not supportive of public education. My concern, though, is that we are allowing important legislation to be pushed through at the last minute, in the wee hours of the morning, without moving through the established process that would allow for full public discussion and input. My issue is with the lame duck session, and it has to be changed. This has nothing to do with the party in power. I would be making the same comments either way. I think we need a ballot proposal to eliminate the lame duck or create a situation where it must be a supermajority for legislation to move forward. These changes would correct a faulty system that ignores the established process and does not support the will of the people. Have I gotten too political? Taking too bold of a stand? As I mentioned, this award recognizes the accomplishments of our district, not just an individual. And in that same spirit, I believe any opportunities this recognition affords me, I'm going to use them, not for my benefit, but to advocate for public education, for all of you and for our students. Because like you, I believe in public education, and I believe in the work we do. Public education is the cornerstone of our democracy, and it's up to each and every one of us to tell our stories of success as we continue to build upon that foundation. Despite the cynics and critics, we have plenty to celebrate and share. From Berkeley to Bad Axe, Monroe to Marquette, Taylor to Traverse City, St. Joseph to Sault Ste. Marie, public educators across the Great Lakes state are providing students with a high-quality, meaningful, relevant instruction, and we need to make sure people know our stories. They need to know the stories of student success. Teachers that go far beyond any job description to deliver instruction. Parents who donate countless hours to support our schools. And administrators who are developing innovative programs that prepare our graduates for life after high school. These are the stories of public education. These are the stories of the students that were not left behind. These are the stories of caring and the stories of hope. However, let's not pretend that these stories don't come without a lot of hard work. And we have a lot of hard work ahead of us to meet the challenges we face. But like Tom Hanks said in the movie A League of Their Own, it's supposed to be hard. If it wasn't hard, everyone would do it. The hard is what makes it great. And working to make a difference in the life of a child is great. And the work that all of you do each day to lead your school district is great. As educators, we know that it's important to keep our perspective always focused on providing our students with a meaningful education. Like most of you, Dearborn has a vision statement. Ours was created by our community and reminds us to always have the right perspective, to always put students first, not just teach, but inspire, educate, and celebrate. Thank you. Have a safe and prosperous 2019. And always remember, there are many good educators, but the great educators will always go beyond the basic lesson to help their students grow. Will motivate their students to reach their full potential. In short, the great educators will do whatever it takes.